All right, repeat. Take two. Today's lesson with Phil was quite funny. I was talking about like a 6 to 7 chip, 15-meter chip, 6 to the green, 7 rolling onwards. We were kind of talking about how it was sitting down, and sometimes it has fluffy lies because the grass was really crappy that day in Royale. And we kind of, I just found this out. I told him that I was having issues with my launch. There are times where my launch is good. There are times where my launch is poopy butthole. When it gets bad, it always goes higher. So the good ones usually stay quite low and spinny. The bad ones get a little bit high no spin or high overspin. But point is, it goes high and then the spin is a little bit random. If I get something between the face, it runs out. If there's nothing between the face, it zips up and I'm screwed. Either way, Phil was making the argument that the reality is on those fluffy little lies, on the perfect lies, those are a little bit dodgy. Those are the tough ones because especially if we're just approaching it like standard like this with our usual club head moving fast and steep attack angle, you can kind of catch it in a way where it would go high off the toe. So with that being said, this applies to every part of short game. We need to know the tendencies. So the fluffy lies give us a tendency of high off the toe, usually quite spinny. So to counter that, we did a drill, basically a Steve Stricker drill, where ball position stays the same, fairly middle. You wanna, yeah, there you go. Put it in the middle. We put it on a tee about a centimeter high, centimeter or 2 high, and all we do is no wrist hinge, no anything with the wrist. It's a very it's kind of like a big putt. So I'm just gonna say that it's a big putt for me. And for me, the big putt, the one important thing for me is in the follow through when I do this, I need to make sure that this head feels a fraction rolled over. So this usually means I'm neutral because I have a tendency to kind of under release this way. So as long as I feel like I get the toe moving, and this produced extremely consistent results. I almost feel like I kind of hit up on it. The main logic behind it being my usual attack angle is relatively steep. So it gives you a lot of space for the ball to slide up. This one is kind of shallow. And for me, I need to make sure that I feel the club is definitely more around the body and the club isn't as high. So I'm kind of going more, I'm going to do the extreme version, but like that. This way instead of this way, like through the target line. Sure, I missed a few explanations here and there, but we'll finish up the lesson. I got rained out with 20 minutes left. So practice will look like. The results that I got were was extremely consistent. Usually if it's spun, it would spin second bounce. That first bounce was a little bit boop, and then zip out. And it has to do very much with the lie. So if I'm catching the ball first, okay, which I didn't on that one, I caught it a bit heavy. If I caught the ball first, it'll come out spinny. If I catch a little bit of grass between, like that last one, it'll come out a little bit high and rolly. That's the one I was looking for. So you practice that on a tee, and I kind of feel like I'm a little bit on the upswing and around the body. The other one that we did was, so I need to remember this, a flop is a V and a lob is a U. So with a lob, I have way more room for error on the ground where I can actually hit the ball because I'm wide through. A flop, because I'm hinging my wrist, gives me about a centimeter. If I miss that little snippet of a window for my flop, the ball can go everywhere. I was talking about shots deep in the rough or in shit rough within 8 meters for this one. And we didn't finish that lesson, but basically we concluded it's gotta be a lob, because a lob gives us more room. Also, it has to come in with speed because we're gonna go through the grass a lot more. And lastly, in my case, I need to feel like I don't have so much hinge on it, because my bad tendency is, well, this is a good lie, but there we go, a little bit more left as well. So I need to feel like I have way less hinge through and through. I kind of get steep sometimes, and when I get steep, it kind of gets a little bit all over the place and I can't control it. It kind of comes out, for me, a little bit hot, a little bit chunk. By me shallowing out, makes everything a little bit easier. Phil, I hope you see this one, so then you can call me out if I have any misconceptions here. But yeah, Steve Stricker drill.